Hi, and welcome to Meeples on Meeples, episode 102. This week we're going to be reviewing Sushi Roll, quick little dice game. You may recognize it even as the dice version of the very popular card game Sushi Go. It plays ages 8 and up, about 20 minutes, and 2 to 5 players. So let's go down, look at how the game plays, and then we'll come back for our final thoughts. Sushi Roll is just an updated version of Sushi Go, if you will. Just take a card game and turn it into a dice game. So for the most part, the rules are the same. It's played over 3 rounds, and each round you're going to get your dice. You draw them at random out of a bag, by the way. You don't always have two of these aqua colored dice. One, you could have, multiple whites, etc. But you'll draw the number of dice. It depends on the number of players. You roll those dice. Then you look at those faces and you put them on the conveyor belt. These are my options available to me. Now, if you look at this player right here, your player board, if you will, it tells what's on each face of each die, which is also very helpful. The next thing you do is the first player, that's the one who has the red border around their conveyor belt. Everybody else just has a plain gray one. The first player can play as many of these tokens as they want. Then they choose a die to keep. The next player does the same thing. Once every player has done that, you pass what's remaining on your board to the player to your left, and you'll get a new board passed to you. So what that may look like is this. You have reroll or menu tokens, and you have these, the chopstick or swap tokens. You can use as many of them as you want because you can get more over the course of the game, and in any order you want. The swap token is what is new to this game. Before it was you could just take an extra card. Now, with a swap token, you can look around and you can grab a die off somebody else's conveyor belt and swap it with yours. So if I had drawn dice and got no red dice and I really, really wanted some of those rolls, I could swipe somebody else's red die and give them one of my dice that I didn't want. So that adds a whole new layer of player interaction that the previous game did not have. The reroll is pretty obvious. You can reroll as many of your dice as you want. So what I could do is I could swap this die out, or swap for one of these dice from my neighbor, and think, you know what, there's a 3 on there, maybe I'm going to push my luck. So I spent this to swap the die. I give them one of mine, take this, and I can spend the reroll token, and I can reroll this, I can reroll all my dice, that's up to me, and it went off this camera, but I swear to you, I did actually roll a 3. I'm like, sweet, that's what I want. If this is the die I want, I put it here, I pass these to the player on my left, and then I'll get a new conveyor belt with 5 new dice. The player to my left now would have the one with the red border, so they'd be the first player of this round, and everybody would go around using up tokens, keeping a die, pass. Use up tokens till it came back to me. And so I'd have to decide if I had any tokens left I could use them. If not, I have to keep one of these dice, then I pass. This player board is really beneficial in that not only does it tell you what's on each die, but it tells you the point value. So these are worth 1 point at the end of the round, these are 2, these are 3. Whoever has the most of these rolls on the faces of their dice added together gets 6 points. Player who has the second most on the table gets 3 points. If I have one of these, I get 2 points. If I have 2 of them, I get 4 points. If I have 3 of them, I get 8 points. One of these gets me 5 points, or 1 point, excuse me. 2 of these will get me 5 points. 3 of these will get me 10 points. You kind of get the idea how it works. If I keep a chopstick die, that means I basically put the die on my player board, and I get to take another chopstick token. So you can get more chopstick tokens and menu tokens as the game goes on, singles and doubles even. But that's pretty much all there is to it. When you finish the round, you add up your scores. Everybody puts their dice back into the bag. You draw 6 new ones, so there's different dice on the table each time, and every player draws new dice. And then you go around and play a second round, a third round. At the end of 3 rounds, the person with the most points wins. So there you have it. That's Sushi Roll in a nutshell. Let's start with talking about the components. Now, Sushi Go being just a card game, there wasn't a lot to discuss. But Sushi Roll is a whole different beast. First off, the box is a little too big. It all fits in the box, no problem, don't get me wrong. But it's one of those games where they've kind of put the insert and they've got the cardboard at the top, and there's just that canyon down the center that everything slides into. And then the only thing that fits across the top is the giant box-sized booklet, which also probably did not need to be this long. So It takes up a lot of shelf space for such a light, family-friendly game. I think they could have saved a lot of space and fit it on my shelf a lot easier. So that's a minor nitpick, I know. The booklet is colorful. That's all there is to it. 4 pages if you count the cover. Very simple to understand rules, easy to read. They give examples, no worries there. I love the artwork. If you liked Sushi Go, it's pretty much the exact same art and art style here. The player boards are a very thick cardboard, which is nice. Even the conveyor belts, that could have easily just been a card or something, but they went with the same thick cardboard. I love the fact that the dice are engraved. They're easy to read. Very simple symbology. And if you go back to your player board, not only is there a place to put the dice as you take them, but it shows each die and what's on the faces. So the white die, here's all 6 faces of the white die, here's all 6 faces of the red die. And so that's really nice that before you decide you want to re-roll, you can see exactly what's going on there. The cardboard chits are another minor complaint. They're a little bit on the thin, wimpy side. But overall, it's a pretty solid production value, especially when compared to Sushi Go, which was kind of lower quality cards. And now it's time for my final thoughts here. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 5 being it's okay, take it or leave it, 10 being a must buy, I'm going to put Sushi Roll on the better side of things. I'm really hovering between that 6, 5, and 7. It's a very light game, but that's all it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be just family-friendly, non-gamer-friendly, good gateway game, a good filler game. You're waiting for people to show up for game night. There's just a couple of you sitting around. You can play a game of this real fast or something to play at the end of the night when you're not quite ready to wrap up or between bigger games, things like that. You know, the components are great, and so that's why I'm going to probably push up to a 7. A 7 out of 10 is just because the component and art style is so cute, and the fact that my family loves it is another bonus. I can't get my daughters to play many games with me, but they do enjoy this one. So overall, I'm going to say that Sushi Roll is a pretty solid game. If you like Sushi Go, this is a no-brainer. Now, do you need both in your collection? I'm actually going to do another video and probably shoot it right after this one where I compare and contrast the two to see which one's better. I don't know necessarily if you need both of them. If you already have Sushi Go, that's up to you. Depends how much you love dice. I mean, the big chunky dice are really pretty. Don't get me wrong. That is a major selling point. I know dice games are extremely popular. But the game itself, it plays quick. It's easy to understand. A lot of you are already familiar with this, so there's not a whole lot new to learn here. But I love the fact that these little tokens take what was just a simple drafting game, just take a card and pass, and now there's a little more strategy and there's a little more player interaction with that swapping out and stealing somebody else's precious die that they may have wanted. So that kind of takes this game to a new level. But yeah, there you have it, Sushi Roll. It's a cute game, and hopefully this helped you decide whether or not you like it. Please tune in next time for our reviews. Make sure that you like our channel, subscribe, hit that little bell icon to get notified when we put up new content, and we'll see you later.